Today we begin with the political drama that has followed President Donald Trump into the heart of his presidency, a controversy he once stoked on the campaign trail, but is now engulfing his entire administration and quite possibly the future of MAGA itself. The president has signed legislation ordering the Justice Department to release long-sealed files from its investigation into the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The bill, which passed both chambers of Congress with strong bipartisan support, requires the Justice Department to publish a wide range of Epstein-related documents within 30 days. Now, these include investigative files, flight logs, internal communications, details of charging decisions, immunity deals, financial networks, and information related to Epstein's 2019 death in a federal prison cell, officially ruled a suicide.
American people have waited long enough. Jeffrey Epstein's victims have waited long enough. Let the truth come out. Let transparency reign. And I urge my Republican colleagues, let the Senate act today.
Now, the decision to sign the measure represents a sharp reversal for the president, because for months he urged Republican lawmakers to block the bill, warning that releasing the records could create a damaging precedent for presidential authority. However, as momentum in Congress hardened and passage became inevitable, the U.S. president shifted his position earlier this week.
I don't care about it, released or not. What I think you should do, if you're going to do it, then you have to go into Epstein's friends. This Reid Hoffman spent a lot of time on the island. I was never on his island.
Trying desperately to control the narrative, the president from the Oval Office presented the move as a commitment to transparency. And then on social media, he said releasing the files would reveal the truth about certain Democrats and their associations with Jeffrey Epstein, insisting that Republicans had nothing to hide.
We will follow the law. The law passed both chambers last evening. It has not yet been signed, but we will continue to follow the law, again, while protecting victims, but also providing maximum transparency.
But Democrats and even Republicans see it quite differently. They point out that President Trump's executive authority to declassify or release many of these materials at any time, and argue his sudden shift reflects political pressure rather than a genuine embrace of openness. In fact, some Democratic leaders even highlighted the president's past friendship with Epstein, noting that the two socialized before Epstein's 2008 conviction for soliciting a minor.
What do the American people want to know? They want to know who else visited Epstein's island, who raped young girls, who abused young girls, who are the other people who were involved. Some of those names have been shared with Thomas Massey and me, by survivors and survivors' lawyers. But what we need is for those files to come out, the files on Epstein's computers, the witness memorandum, the interviews.
Now, public interest in the case remains exceptionally high. A recent Reuters Ipsos poll found that only 20% of Americans, including just 44% of Republicans, approve of President Trump's and how he has handled the Epstein matter. In fact, large majorities across political lines believe the government is still hiding information about Epstein's network and client list. Recent documents released from Congress have revived scrutiny of Epstein's links with high-profile figures, including former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers and writer Michael Wolff. In fact, some of Epstein's emails even reference President Trump himself, often critically, with Epstein in one instance writing that the president knew about the girls, and in another describing him as the dog that hasn't barked. With the Justice Department now under a legal mandate, Washington is bracing for potentially explosive disclosures. Yet it remains uncertain how much new material exists and how much will actually become public under the law's exceptions. And now Washington waits and braces for the administration's next move. Meanwhile, the president hopes this long-running saga has finally come to an end, allowing him room and space to restore his fractured base and, more importantly, regain his once sky-high approval ratings from Republicans.
I was a revolutionary. I became a ruler. I claimed to protect my people. I terrorized them instead. I built palaces. I started wars. I lost everything. Some called me a defender of Arab pride. History remembers me as a dictator. Who am I?